What's up, world?
Hello,
Just waiting
hello,
for some
hello,
people to come
everybody.
on. Wait for some people to come on, then we be going. What's up, sis? Hey, girl.
What up, Kendra?
What's up? Welcome to another episode of Talk
Talk
with
with Teezy.
Teezy. Venus versus Mars with my co-host Webb in the building. What's up? What we talking about, Nate? Hey, Nate.
Nate,
He like, what we
what we
talking
talking
about?
huh?
What we talking about? Well, we're
Well,
gonna be
since
talking about like a
I missed
continuation of last week.
episode, here for part two. What up, Kendra? Here for part two of breaking generational curses.
Yeah.
Because of things is ugly. And we don't need them in our lives anymore as black people. Ain't that right?
No, we don't. That's right, Webb. I'm Nate. Enlighten me. You know, that's right. That's what we about to do today. We about to enlighten y'all. Y'all about to enlighten us too.
Yeah, yeah. So
Each one teach one.
It's true.
How's everybody's night going?
Takes a village.
Right.
How was everybody's night going? What did you talk about in the last episode?
We talked about like how it could pour into your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about just growing up. Some people share their experiences of growing up with just their mom or their dad around or their dad not around. We talked about just breaking the generational curses. So we kind of talked about a few
Interesting.
things.
Yeah. That's what's up.
And like where it could stem from, and things that you seen your parents go through, and you can end up seeing that in somebody else, or even you going through certain situations and things that been in your family lifeline for a long time and you don't even realize it. Hey, Dad. Oh, look, what's up, Devin?
Oh, Dad, what up,
I ain't seen
Dad?
Devin in a long time. What's up, Pops? So yeah, that's what we talked about that last week. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
So Devin, he wanted to, not Devin. See, I'm
Nate.
mixing up the names. Not Nate either. Webb.
Oh, me.
Yeah, sorry, Webb. Because
Me.
I'm looking at the names. Oh, he said he can't hear us. You can't hear us?
You can't hear who? Who can't you hear? Me or her?
Oh, he can hear us.
They would say, hey.
Hey, what's up?
What up?
Yeah, Webb wanted
I was actually in the midst of my own generational curse type of thing, which is why I missed last episode. But yeah, it's a painful thing to deal with. Mommy issues, daddy issues, all of that comes with generational curses. Did y'all mention any of those things?
Yeah, we talked about that's what we talked about a lot, the mommy and daddy issues. We did talk about that. So.
I grew up like without my father around, but it wasn't like how everybody else is like upset with their father for not being around. Like I
it says the sound is low.
Sound is low.
Yep. Hold on. Oh, you didn't even have it. How does it sound now?
Can y'all hear it better now?
I was fine last week. How does it sound? Oh, how does it sound now? I think it might sound better now. But go ahead.
But yeah, like I didn't grow up upset with him or like anything like that. And people ask me that a lot, like why am I not upset? But like I know how difficult it can be to deal with certain type of energies and certain type of like situations. And my father really tried his best. You know what I mean? Like he really tried his best. But some stuff is just not for people to deal with. Some stuff people just can't deal with. You know what I mean? Not as far as kids go, but as far as like other things. Because a lot of times, with generational curses, people be thinking about themselves. I think it's passed on and you learn it because you learn from your parents and your parents learn from their parents. They try to change a little bit because everybody want to do something different than what their parents did, but it don't. Strangely enough, it somehow turns out the same. You know what I mean? And so sometimes a lot of times, like that's why they be like, for the sins of the father, the child shall have to pay, or for I think it works both ways. For the sins of the mother, I think for the sins of the father, the daughter has to pay, and for the sins of the mother, the son has to pay. You know what I mean? I think it transfers like that. Because a lot of times that's how issues come. And then in relationships, you get in relationships, and then people are looking for their parents subconsciously and don't realize it. Especially if you didn't grow up with that parent around. Like, like I don't know if you noticed, but women who have mommy issues don't get along with other women.
So what is a woman that has mommy issues? Hey, Kia.
I mean, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Like a woman just who got issues with their mother, who either don't get along with their mother, or they got baby too much by their mother, and they too close, like sisters more than mother daughter, or like or they fight all the time, they bicker all the time. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like they just don't have a relationship, a good mother daughter relationship.
Okay.
A proper mother daughter relationship. They won't get along with other women. They'll be like, oh, I don't get along with. Not all the time. I'm not saying this is every single scenario, but a lot of times that's what happens. They don't get along with other women. And the same for like dudes. If dudes got daddy issues, they don't get along with other niggas, or they don't get along. You know, they won't get along with other. But then with men, you kind of go looking for your father figure. So that's how dudes like kind of end up in the streets and stuff like that. I think,
well, you look at So a lot of men look at like if they don't have that father figure, a lot of them turn to the streets or the people that take them in and treat them like that, give them that bond that they need. And then with women, sometimes we go look for that in another man. Dad, no. No, you wasn't dad. So no, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? And so like you get dudes mommy issues like dude, you know when dudes get like fly, you get like a dude that's like real fly all the time, and he really conceited about his looks and his appearance and stuff like that. Not every dude, because some dudes just like to look good. Some people like to look good, but when they get that, but it's something that was instilled from them from their mother, I think it's different. If you take that on for yourself, I think it's one thing. But if you get that instilled from your parents,
like if your parents always dressed you up and stuff,
yeah, and like your mom made sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're taking care of you, but they instill that you need to look top notch all the time. Like you develop a conceited spirit about yourself, and then that transfers to relationships. And now you get a dude who act like a female, who's thinking prettier than this female. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But like it's weird. Like it's so many layers.
Right.
There's so many layers to like mommy issues, daddy issues, how they present themselves, like with women they get along with. If they don't get along with women, they get along with dudes. They'll be around a lot of dudes or whatever. And in a way, they kind of, if they have the right kind of father figure, then they deal with men on a certain kind of level, on a respect. There's a respect level there, but they don't go through what I feel. I think this is what I've noticed. I'm not saying, you know what I mean. This is just my. See, somebody said facts. Thank you, Monisha. Shout outs to you.
I'm letting him talk a little bit
because I feel like maybe I just rambled.
No, you talking because last week we kind of talked about it, so I just want to hear what you gotta say. I'm not gonna say my input. I'm just listening.
And so like it's if the dad not around, that's why I try to be in my daughter's life. I be going through it with her moms now, and there was a friend of mine said to me the other day that he's like, yo, what's that you were saying about what you be going through with your baby mother? So I'm like, yeah, I explained the situation to him. He's like, yo, there's a lot of love. There's a lot of love there, and he's right. Like me and her were close. You get what I'm saying? So like now, love can turn to hate real quick. And not just hate, but just a disdain where you always trying to not really one up, but you know what I mean. It's a power struggle that don't be needing to happen because it's like, yo, you hurt me so much, like I don't want to forgive you yet, kind of thing, or for you know what I mean, kind of thing. But I say that just I forgot why I was saying that.
Because you said it has to do with the mommy issues. So you think that?
Oh, my daughters. I try to stay in my to be around for my daughter because I know how important that kind of thing is. I have my own mommy issues that I deal with. I love my mother to death. My mother's a great woman. She's a great woman. She's taking care of me, my brothers, my sisters. You know what I mean? Like she's taking care of all of us, and she's done a very good job. But she didn't always have things easy. You know what I'm saying? And me and her bump heads a lot because she expects a lot more out of me than I probably show. But the things that I show that I want to do is things that I want to do that I like to do that I can do well.
She doesn't show interest in it.
They see my intelligence and want to put in a certain direction, but it don't always got to be like that. When you're creative, it's not always to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can have all them type of smarts, book smarts and all that, but yeah, my mom's a great person, but me and my mom bump heads, so I have my own.
I can see.
I have my own, you know me, my own mommy issues that probably went into my relationship and messed it and had it, but there's deep mommy issues and daddy issues on her side.
So it don't matter about who got more, but my thing is, so when did you realize that you had mommy issues that could have poured into your relationship? Did you realize that after the relationship? Did you realize that during the relationship, or did you know that
when I first got into the relationship, I had already been, you know what I mean, I had been out of the house. I'd been away from my mother for like a couple of years, so I wasn't in a headspace to where I was bothered by what the issue, you know what I mean, what's going on there. I had healed from it because I understood beforehand, before leaving the house, that there was a problem there between me and my mother. And I've experienced different situations with her where I realized, okay, this is just something you don't like what I do. You know what I'm saying? You just don't like what I do. So there's that. You know what I mean? And I've come to terms with that. I love my mother to death, but she just don't be liking what I do.
Yeah, so, but then when you look at your Facebook, you got so much posts about females, this, females, that.
Because
females
I watch. That's not just my mother. I watch females. Like I watch people talk about stuff and hear what they talk about and explain stuff. Like you know what I mean? I watch. I see situations and I follow patterns with stuff. So I watch how certain stuff play out, and I don't be wrong. I might come off where people can, you know what I mean, debate, but then eventually what I be saying be on point and be right. Like if I sit down and have a deep enough conversation with somebody, they be like, yeah, like they'll see where I'm coming from or what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Not to say I know all, because nobody knows all, but
nope.
I know a good amount for being a young black man from Hartford, Connecticut. I tell you that. But yeah.
So. How do you think the mommy and daddy issues stem from the generational curses? Because give me an example of something that you consider a generational curse.
There's a lot of different things, like poverty. You got I think that's the main one people look at, but it'd be more stuff like sexual abuse, and it'd be stuff like family sexual abuse, you know what I mean? Like that one. So it'd be stuff like alcohol problems, drug problems. I don't know. That's only the few I can think of right now.
Those all are definitely examples of generational curses. And last week when we kind of spoke about it, we talked about, like I said, it pouring into your relationship, the mommy-daddy issues. I feel like girls could have mommy and daddy issues.
Yeah.
Just like men.
Men can have mommy and yeah.
But a lot of men, I feel like, won't admit that they have mommy issues. They might admit that they have dad issues because their dad wasn't around and their dad wasn't there to teach them how to be a man and how to raise them. So this is why they had to choose this life and do this, that, and the third. You know, which... It's understandable. We all have our experiences, but a lot of dudes, I feel like, really don't admit that they have mommy issues. I mean, honestly, I think that like if you're dating a guy, and as a female, I know from you could tell that they have that person. You know, if that person that you're dating has mommy issues.
Can I say something?
What?
Those issues, a lot of, I think it stem from because right now you can't really tell women when women do abandonment. That's another one. Thank you, Pastor. You can't really tell women when they're doing something wrong, and there's a thing there, and I think when that's passed down from a mother, there's a because I'm trying to think of how I'm saying this. You know who deal with mommy issues and people don't realize that? Pimps. Pimps have bad relationships with their mothers. That's why they pimp women. They have terrible relationships with their mother, or they watch their mother be a terrible person. Or be in bad situations and be like, you know what I mean? They have a hate for their mother. I don't care who they is. Y'all can go look this up and look into it if you want. Any pimp That's why they, unless it's just something they picked up from, you know what I mean, hanging around with other niggas. But for most part, they have a bad relationship with their mother, and that's why they pimp women because it's
A
it's a power, a
satisfaction.
satisfaction thing. Yeah, that's the word.
Satisfaction for them.
It's a satisfaction and them feeling powerless. Now they have the power over. You know what I mean?
So why do you think that dudes more so like to express that they have father issues more than they have
Oh, that's what I
mommy
was saying.
issues?
Because you love your mother, and you don't ever want to say anything bad about your mother. You talk not to say. That's what I was saying. That's thank you for steering me back to what I was saying. They you love your mother to death as a man. You know what I mean? If that's who raised you and your father wasn't around.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first woman you get to know. You know what I'm saying? And you love you. You're taught not to say anything bad about women, not to look for women, but then you deal with women, and then you see it's not always like that. But when you're taught not to say nothing bad about your mother, you just is you know what I mean. You're raised by her, and you don't really look at what's happened and how it might have been wrong, because then that comes off as you're being disrespectful. You know what I mean? And as a man, you're supposed to respect your mother all the time.
She's saying that as low.
It might just
See,
be me
every
getting
time you
low.
come, it might be where.
It just might be me talking a little Kendra.
Let's push it up a little bit. All right. Sorry.
Sorry about that, but yeah, yeah, I think it's because you taught not to say nothing bad about your mother. So dudes not gonna express, oh, I got mommy issues, but they be babied and they be certain things from their mother, and that be a mommy issue. Because then now you expect your girl to do that, and that's not her
Right.
responsibility to do that until y'all get to that level. You know what I'm saying? Or she like you that much, but it'll be her responsibility to do all of that.
So do you think that mama's boy is part of having mommy issues or
I do.
daddy issues?
I think a mama's boy is a part. I mean, boys gravitate to mothers naturally, just like girls gravitate to their fathers naturally.
Uh huh.
But when you really babied by your moms, like a mama's boy, I think that has a lot to do because then you're gonna look for that kind of thing in a girl,
Yeah, a lot of men
and
do.
that's going, you know what I mean, and it's going, you're gonna start treating her funny if she not giving it to you the way you want it, and that stems from not having enough masculinity. That's toxic masculinity now.
Right.
It stems from not having enough masculinity around.
And how do you think men?
But the only way he gonna know how to react is like his mother. So now you get into kind of arguments and fights with your girl, and you know what I'm saying?
And he know that he could go back to mommy.
Or he could butter her up. If he learned how to butter up his mom, he could butter up
His girl.
his girl like that.
Then
I'm giving away some.
Then the moms be down with it.
Yeah.
Then the moms be down with it. Okay, so, well, like I said last week, we talked a little bit about it. I talked a little bit about my, I guess, daddy issues. I probably had some mommy issues too, because me and my mom didn't get along a lot when I was younger. Like, I don't know, I think because we kind of had the same, like, we're a lot of, like, maybe, like, the same attitude or just.
You know who that sounds like?
We were a lot of, like, what?
You and Tracy.
Me and Tracy. Oh, yeah, me and my daughter. No, I love my baby, though. But
Yeah, Tracy cool.
I cuss sometimes. But, no, like, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, like, yeah, I probably did have some mommy issues, too. Like, me and my mom didn't get along, like, for a while. And then as I got older and stuff, you know, became way better. And then, of course, just not having my dad around, you know, at a young age, that was hard, too. So that played a role in, like, how I grew up, what I thought of myself, like, how I looked at boys, all type of things like that. My self-esteem, you know, me wanting that father figure around or whatever. So it's definitely real. And then the generational curses is definitely real because you know, I seen things my mom went through that I end up in my adult life going through, you know. So that's true when they say, you know, things that you see, things that you don't even realize that it's something that been going on even before your mother's time. It's just like, I call it like a dark cloud. Like, it's just over your family, and until it's like recognized and understood that this is what's going on, like this is a pattern, something need to be done, it's just gonna keep going. Like, it might skip a generation, it might skip 2 generations, but it's always gonna.
The generation that skipped, the person that they noticed that something was wrong and they couldn't get it across to their family, and so they just bounced. It'd be situations like that. You know what I mean? It'd be weird how it presents this stuff. Like you said, it's like a dark cloud that followed generation after generation after generation.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like I knew like my mother's story growing up and her story about her, and it paralleled my sisters kind of in a way, my older sisters. Not exactly, but in a certain sense. My mother kind of saved her from a similar fate that she and her mother went through. But it also damaged my sister in a different kind of way. You know what I mean? Like I think that's another thing with generational curses. People be trying to save, be trying to do too much and trying to save their children from going through what they went through. That they end up sending them inadvertently down a similar path or down a different kind of dark path.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, she said you challenged me a lot, and I was not having it.
She sounded like my mother with my older
Whatever.
sister.
That was just the back. That's how it was. You couldn't say nothing back then until your parents.
It's different. Like my relationship, my older sister's relationship with my mom is very, very different from my brother's relationship and my younger sister's relationship with my mother. They have a more normal relationship with her.
Why do you think that? Because you were doing things that.
No, cause the way they deal with her, the way not I ain't say it like that because of my mother, not deal with her, but the way their interactions is different. It's just very different than my older sister and I, with my mother. And I noticed that like a long time ago. And it took going to school and studying psychology and going through oh, thank you.
Shut up. Okay, shut up. Yeah, she said you should. Okay, cool. Thank you. Hassan, please.
Oh, she's telling me to do that.
But go ahead. What you were saying?
Yeah, it's just very different, and it took me going. It took me living with my older sister. It took me going to school and studying psychology. It took me going through 7 years of my relationship with my girl to understand it as in depth as I understand it now.
Okay.
But it took a lot of different things for me to see. Like, oh snap, this is crazy. Like
how
life
it all
is,
intertwines.
How it all intertwines.
How
life
it all
is crazy like that.
How you end up messing with somebody that resembles not just like a physical look, but things that she might deal with personality wise, and you end up dealing with somebody that's like.
Fear is a very powerful thing, yo. And how fear presents itself in people, and how people project fear and deal with situations through fear is very, I don't want to say dangerous, but it's interesting. It's interesting because it breeds many different things that you like. Oh, like it takes a long time to get out of.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say, and that's how generational curses continue.
Yeah, but you gotta start working on it somehow. Like I feel like recognizing it is like even with recognizing it. Sorry, even with recognizing it, like I feel like also learning more about like your family. Like I know, like some families they might be more private with their history and things that they've been through. And some families might not, but it's like you want to also learn about these things, like, because then you like, oh snap, it makes sense. Like you could sometimes put 2 and 2 together when you have that better understanding, and then once you have that understanding, and some of it might be deep and some of it might be dark, but if you feel like you want to be that one or be that person to start trying to break these generational curses on our families, then you're gonna have to do the work, and sometimes it might be ugly, but it's worth it at the end of the day.
I've been doing the work for years. I've been doing the work for so many years. It's trying to explain it to my family. It's where it's where problems come in. But I just watch from the outside and do my own thing. I just watch from the outside and do my own thing. It's crazy. It's crazy how stuff presents itself and how you watch certain things. Like, you know what I mean? You would never know a lot of things from the outside looking in at a person's situation.
Oh, of course. And I think that we also had to have to understand that our parents went through things too, like that. It might have affected the way that they raised us, or why they treated us the way that they treated us, or whatever the situation may be.
Yeah,
like they went through their own things as well.
Exactly. She went through a lot of stuff, immigration, like mad shit. My mom been through a lot of shit. Men trying to kill her. My mother been through wild shit. My mother been through wild shit. I love my mother. Shout out to my mama. Hi, ma.
Shout out to Web Mom. So, what else do you think about when it comes to the breaking the generational curses and more so when you're in a relationship and how that can affect your relationship that you're in with someone? Dying to live. Yes, Web. Dying to live. Mom? Pastor Tracy? Alright.
You saying what the daddy
I'm
issue?
saying what do you think?
Dudes, like you're saying, men that like go into the street, they talk more about like
Their daddy
father
issues than their mommy
than their mommy
issues.
issues, because that's what they live with and they grow up with. But I bet, and I can say I bet, but there's a different type of understanding there. It's an emotional thing. And I was talking to you about this about like dudes that's in the street. That's why women can gravitate to men and street men, because they work with emotion more, so they have
Who
a
works
better.
for the emotion more, the woman or the man?
No, not works for it more. Their interactions is based more on emotion.
Okay.
Than logical thinking in situations. So, like, that's why nerds don't get along. That's why girls don't go for nerds. Because nerds think logically, whereas, like more hood dudes or street dudes or whatever you want to call bad boys think with emotion. You know what I mean? It'd be pain and fear and a lot of stuff there, and having to fight certain situations that you went through, certain painful experiences at a young age. You know what I mean? That puts you in that type of a mindset.
So then all of that stuff gets pushed in the back.
Pushed into the back.
And
you get into
it never
relationships
gets dealt with. It starts to actually resurface to the front.
When you be in relationships and emotions come back, you know what I mean? That's when it starts to really resurface.
Right. Okay, I agree with you on that one.
Dudes with daddy. Oh yeah, they go to the streets or they be effeminate. You get dudes that don't have their dad in their life be really effeminate. They take on characteristics from their mom.
Argumentative,
you know what I mean? They like to argue, or they like to
they like the drama. What
like
they
the drama, or you know what I mean?
Bunch of women, and
all that type of stuff. You get dudes with what's that? I said daddy issue. Yeah, with mommy issues now. You get some men don't get along with their mother and be gay, and that be a mommy issue.
Mm-hmm.
Some men be gay and be their mother best friend, and that's not really a mommy issue because you loving your son. But like, I don't know how that fit into it.
So I know last week Nate was talking about when. What about like when the females? Hey Jennifer, what's up, boo? Was talking about how like moms like they call their kids their sons like that's my daddy, that's my king. Like, how do you feel about
that's
that?
Mommy issue, yeah.
That is something that's mommy issues.
I think that ties into mommy issues because there's too much. Erotic, because not to say that they're looking at the child but there's too much erotic love there.
Right, but from the mom's point of view, you think that's her having daddy issues that she's calling her son king and daddy, or do you think that that's her having mommy issues with her mother? Do you think
she
that's from her having?
She never had a good male role model in their life, so they try to make their son. That's like when mothers try to make their son look like the man that they. You ever seen that meme? Where like,
yeah.
So it like that shit. It'd be real. They really be trying to dress their kid up because they never had to do. So now they're trying to build a perfect man, and that's how you form mommy issues in your son. Because you're trying to create the man that you wanted for yourself. But it's your son. You're trying to teach him these kind of ways because you want him to be the perfect man, which is the man you want. But people don't be thinking until they start to, like you said, until they start to recognize certain things and break out of it.
Right.
But when people just be too emotional, they don't realize that.
You always talking about somebody being emotional.
Pastor
Tracy said to live as you were meant to, not in property, not in fear, not in disbelief, making better decisions, breaking the bondage. Yes, totally agree with that, breaking the bondage. But sometimes it could be hard. A lot of times it could be hard.
That's why. Not to kind of go off topic. I hope y'all stick with me on what I'm saying. Why the way America has done black people is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like you can't when you constantly. I'm constantly trying to budge this thing. My fist just trying to live, but I'm constantly trying to budget.
Mm.
It's hard. It's gonna eventually, if my fist was its own person, it's gonna eventually find ways to get around continuously being hit.
Right.
Right? And they don't make this while you have to try to get around constant like pain and fear and like certain issues in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is just away from race. Just people. You're trying to get away from certain issues in life. If you constantly in a state of trying to get away from issues in life, you're never gonna be in a space where you can think clearly.
Right. Oh, I believe that wholeheartedly. I do not. I feel like brushing things under the rug only makes it deeper, and I feel like it makes it worse. Like I feel like when
Making decisions become really hard,
yeah.
and you're not thinking, you're just reacting. So it does. So it has a lot to do with emotion that you're trying to suppress. That's there. I spent a lot of years trying to suppress a lot of emotions. I'm over that now.
So Kev said, "What's up, cuz? Don't believe a female has to have daddy issues to uplift her significant other by calling him something he is." What do you mean, like king? I mean, that's okay, but when a female call her son daddy, I don't know if that's what you're saying, but I don't know. For me, I don't have sons, but I know, and I have a lot of friends that have sons, and when you calling your son daddy, I don't know, that just sit different. I mean, yeah, you could say he a king because he is a young king, but to a female to call her son daddy, I don't know. I don't know if I.
It's become normalized now, but calling a significant other daddy is stems from daddy issues. It's become a normalized thing now in culture that people just do
Wait,
it all
let's
the time.
go back to that.
It stems from that. It's a
Calling
thing.
a significant other. So when a female call her man daddy, that comes from daddy issues
It
of
does.
wanting that. What?
They it's usually a dude that take care of them that they call daddy. So unless it's just in a sexual manner, then that's different.
Oh, you mean like when a
That's
girl be
also from
talking to a
issues,
man?
but it's different kind of issues. But like for the most part, it's a dude that take care of them that they call daddy, and that's why because they're being taken care of, like a father would take care of their daughter.
I agree with you a
Psychology.
little bit on that.
Psychology 101, people.
I took that class. Dr.
See?
Rose is the best psychology teacher at Capitol. But
Like
Kia said, "Nope, not calling my son's daddy. It sounds perverted."
it sounds perverted.
My girl here said facts because I don't call men daddy. And she a grown woman and she's saying that she don't call men daddy.
See?
Only but I'll say so. You say that it's separate. It's two different things when you're saying it in the bed versus when you're just like calling. So you could be having a conversation with your man and be like daddy, like I don't know.
But see, that in that way, it's become like normalized.
Yeah. I think sexual is okay. I think that sexual wise is okay, but yeah, I mean conversation wise with the man, I don't know if I sat there and talking and that word comes out and calls him daddy. I don't think. Yeah.
She's not calling it.
Yeah, Kia said that sounds perverted.
It's like me calling. I wouldn't call my daughter mama or mommy. Like.
Some people do. Oh, so okay. So how do you feel as a guy for that?
That's okay. Now, like little mama or
well,
something.
What about
mama, or
you would call them little? You would call her little mama. I don't think nothing wrong with that.
There isn't, and now I'm thinking about it. There's a double standard there that I never noticed before.
That doesn't sound bad when you say that to your daughter.
There's a double standard there in calling your son's daddy versus calling your daughter's mama. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I never noticed that till right now. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look more into that, people.
Yep, look more into it. See, I just made you think about something.
That's something. Yeah, that's something to think about.
Yep.
But yeah, like it's also very different between men and women. Men and women are very two different species. So things kind of present themselves differently, psychologically and mentally, and then they manifest physically differently. But it'd be the same kind of issues.
What, Nate? You both what? Oh my
mommy
god.
And daddy issues.
You got both mommy and daddy issues?
Like that's what I was saying earlier. Like with my father, he wasn't around, but I have a bunch of good memories from being a kid around my father. You know what I'm saying? He bought me my first car, my only car. He bought me, you know what I mean, the car that I had at one time. He bought it, and like I've had, you know what I mean, good experiences with my father. I guess the distance is what's been a factor, and like me, like not reaching out, and I don't know. Maybe that's what it is.
So the distance and him not really being around, it doesn't bother you. Did you blame your? Do you feel like you blame your mom more for the reason that he wasn't around because of whatever she might have been going through, or do you look
Not
at
that
it
I
as it
blame
was
him,
your
but they
father's
just was two different
decision?
people. It was a decision. I feel like it was. I feel like it was both. I feel like it was a decision on his part. Not blaming her, but I think it was a decision on his part, and there was a lot of things that she was going through that she still had, you know what I mean, problems with. That it just clashed.
So do you think that you have daddy issues?
I guess people would say so. You know what I mean, for him not being around. I think
You feel like it didn't
it
affect
just
you?
it's not it just be awkward. Like when I'm around my father having conversations, it just be I don't know what to talk about. I don't. That's
So
the
you
only
don't
thing I
have
feel.
that.
So
You
I
don't
don't have
have
like the
that
anger
connection.
or the connection.
The connection isn't there. Like at
It's
this
not.
day
It's
and
not there.
age,
It's not there as much as I would want it to be. As much as it should be.
right?
And a lot of that has to do with me, so I can't blame him.
Mm. Did your father ever come around? Like,
Yeah, he used to come pick us up. Like I have good memories of you know what I mean, going to see my father or him coming to pick us up when he did come to pick us up. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any bad memories like that.
so he was, although he was an in and out type of dad, every time y'all was together, it
It
was
was
good
good
memories.
memories. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
I don't have that what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have that I don't want to say animosity. I just don't have that, you know what I mean? Towards him. I don't
But
have
you
any kind
to
of anger or kind of regret or kind of I don't have the right word right now, but
it kind of feels like you don't feel like you deal with daddy issues from what you're saying. Like, not that you gotta blame your dad, but it's like him not being around as often or being in the household or even just being consistent. It
my
seemed like it didn't
relationship with my
bother you.
dad, no, my relationship with my dad makes me want to be a good dad. You know what I mean? My
Well,
relationship, watching my brother be a good dad, makes me want to be a good dad. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
Like I never had any aspirations to not be around for my kids.
right, kids.
Well, kid, I only have a kid right now, but when
Mm-hmm.
I want more. Well, you know what I mean? I've
Yeah,
never had any aspirations to not be around.
but that made you, that inspired you to be around more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a good thing though, because some people they could have used that for an excuse and said, I never. I don't want to call it an excuse, but I think at some point it becomes an excuse. Like when they
Oh, I
talk
never had my
about,
father in
I
my
never
life, so I
had
don't
my
know how to
dad
be a
in my
dad.
life. He wasn't around, so I didn't know how to be a dad. But it's
Yeah.
like, yo, you could only like keep using that excuse or that
But so
reason or
long.
that whatever it was, but for so long. But that's a part of generational curses too, because
Mm-hmm.
you could have a line of family men that's men, and that's always was
It's
the
a very good one.
situation.
You're right.
And it's like, okay, so how am I supposed to? But like I always say, I don't care with anything. If you want to learn something, you're gonna learn it. You're gonna surround yourself with the people that you need to surround yourself with. Just like you said, your brother aspired you to want to be a good dad. You seen that, you witnessed that. Like you gonna put yourself in that type of circumstance, that type of community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say, if that's what you want to do, if you want to become better at that, like yes, we all have issues, and we all, I feel like probably maybe all of us, even with people that have both parents in the house, they got mommy and daddy issues. Like it ain't always peaches and cream.
No, yeah, no.
Like
That's facts. That's
yeah,
facts. People can have both parents in the house and still have mommy and daddy issues.
yep,
That
I
happens a
believe
lot of
that.
times. I get into that a lot when I make a post about mommy issues or daddy issues,
Mhm.
and a girl will comment like, "Oh, I had my dad in my life, I don't," but she be having clear cut daddy issues.
Mhm.
But she'll be the first one to be like, "Oh, my dad was in my life, I don't got no daddy issues," and it's like, you got daddy issues written across your forehead, shorty. Like, yes, you do have daddy issues, whether he was around or not. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be a lot like that.
Mhm. I'm trying to see. That's a fact. So I mean, I don't know. I think, like I said last week, I did say, like, I think, like, me having, like, daddy issues, like, when my dad wasn't around when I was young and stuff, like, I think that affected in the way that I chose the men that I chose or dealt with them, or even wanted to, like, cater to them and just, like, try to have that bond, because that bond was missing from my dad. So as I got older, of course, I realized and understood, like, okay, that's where that came from, like, trying to give that love and get that love back in return, like from a man,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that, like, you don't just give yourself like that, you know. So that's
You
something
know.
that's earned. But
Yeah.
when you yearn for your father so bad, it's like that male figure that come around, even if it's a man in your life, you know, that you gonna end up loving and being with.
Dudes be experiencing that too. Like with mom, like if they have bad relationships to a certain degree with their mother, they yearn for that kind of female love, and they can
Yeah.
put themselves in a bad
Yep.
position. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Where they get taken advantage of and get, you know what I mean?
Right.
Get walked all over,
Yeah,
whatever you want
men
to
go
call
through
it.
that too. Men go through that too. Or even with the generational curses, like a family that's like alcoholics, or you know, a family that might have been on drugs and it was like generational, or like you said, the
Exactly.
sexual, like the alcoholism. You could have like your aunt or your grandmother or somebody in your family, could be your mother, could have been an alcoholic, and then now you with a girl that's an alcoholic, or you with somebody that you know smokes just as much as you, or whatever the issue might be. It really goes down not only in the family, it pours into the person that you could choose, the person that you end up
Mm-hmm.
with, you know, the person that you have kids with. All of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff goes into play, like all of
And
it.
then once you have kids now, because it's mommy issues, daddy issues, you have issues with your parenting style, whether you realize it or not. You go so hard to think you're trying to be. Not to say that people the parenting is bad or anything, but you go so hard to parent how you think the perfect parenting goes. But a lot of it has to do with your issues, whether it's mother or father. You know what I'm saying? Like I thank God that I was able to study psychology, so I'm able to like notice certain things before it becomes. You know what I mean? Like not to say that I notice it before it becomes. Like if I can notice in the moment, if I I might notice, let's say me yelling at, I'm going through something and I'm yelling at my daughter or something,
Mm-hmm.
I can catch that this anger has nothing to do with her. It has to do with something else. Let
Mm-hmm.
me not yell at her like that and switch up my tone.
Well, yeah,
A
and I
lot of
think that's
people,
about that's about 2 years. You got to recognize that. Sometimes it's not about your kids, and if you're wrong at that time, then you know there's nothing wrong with apologizing. I mean, sometimes you gotta get at them, but sometimes when something don't happen, you could be having a bad day. I know, like when it's that time of the woman female month for me, like I be telling my daughter, like you better like don't say nothing to me, and but I be having to like trying to say you gotta control that, like you know. So
mm-hmm.
I definitely I agree with you on that level.
Dudes go through that too. That's how you get you in a relationship with a dude and he just angry and
Oh
and
my god.
I don't know, but women be liking that. The women be liking to deal
No.
with dudes that have them in fear. I don't know
No.
what's that about. Y'all
In
gotta chime in,
fear? What do
ladies
you
who be
mean? What do you mean? Hold
like
up. What do you mean when you say in
women.
fear?
I done seen women's conversations with each other. It's a joke to them. They think it's funny, but they be
Like,
like,
give
"Oh,
me an
girl, this nigga crazy."
example. Give me an
You ever been
example.
like, "Girl, this nigga crazy"? You ever had that conversation with your friends?
Men say that about us all the
Because y'all are
time.
crazy.
Oh,
I'm
women
talking
are
about
crazy, but
that's a
men
different
aren't.
kind of
Here
crazy.
we go with this
That's a
again.
different crazy.
Oh, here we
That's
go
a
with this
different crazy.
again.
I'm saying crazy
Mm-hmm.
like scared of him crazy, not crazy like she's bugging crazy. That's a different crazy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like so conversation was like, oh, you do something that you know he not gonna like, or that's his. Because girls like to try their dudes for whatever reason. I don't know what that's about. Whatever the hell that's about, but girls like to try their niggas. Women like to try men because y'all be thinking it's funny. It don't be funny, but it be funny sometimes. Not the point. The point is.
I'm not even.
The point is
What's the point, Web?
the fear thing. I don't know what it be about that, but some girl they like that. They like the whole being scared, and I think that has to do with a trauma
Is
thing.
that more of a control thing, you think? Like they like for the men to have the
To have a
control?
certain control. It is it's
So you
strange.
think some women like to get hit on?
Honestly, yeah. There's some women not. There's some women that are that messed up in the head. That's what they
Yeah.
see love as, or that's what you know. What I mean,
Yeah.
they don't get beat up. They think is he don't love me enough. He a punk. He don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It be some chicks like that. But it's
Yeah,
levels to it. Levels to anything.
it's people to it can be like that, or it could be that some girls, some females do a lot of victims or domestic violence relationship situations. It could be to where the female's like, okay,
That's
if
trauma.
he's doing this, he loved me,
That is trauma.
he loves me, or it could just be she just dealing with it because she loved him and she don't want him to go nowhere, or whatever the situation is. But that's never okay, and it's
It's
never
never
cool
okay, no. But it
at
all can stem
all.
from mommy. That like you might have grew up like a chick might have grown up in a house where she's seen her father beat up on her mother,
Right,
and
or
then you
she's
know what I mean,
seen
or
some,
she's
or
seen
she's
her
seen
mother
somebody
beat up
else.
on her father.
That's
Now
what I'm
she think
saying.
it's
That's
okay
what
to
I
do.
said earlier. You know, when you see in the household certain things, you end up not even realizing that you gonna go through something similar to that
Mm-hmm.
situation. It might not be exactly the same, but you gonna end up going through, and then it's
Yeah.
like, wow, I can't believe that I'm repeating
Yeah.
history, and
Exactly.
it's like something gotta change.
Exactly.
And yes, that is trauma. It's trauma,
Exactly.
baby girl. We're gonna talk
History
about
repeats
domestic
itself.
violence one day.
History repeats itself.
Yeah,
It
it
sure
does.
do.
It
And it's
does.
scary. It's so scary. It's so scary. But it's funny though. They say life is a divine comedy.
It's not funny.
It's a little funny. It's sad, but it's funny at the same time.
It's not funny when you're trying to break these curses.
Yeah, no, that's not funny at all.
So what else you gotta say about these curses, these
Um,
generational, this mommy daddy issues?
you brought up. I like what you were saying about. I was about to piggyback off of that about men.
You
What was
forgot.
just said? Yeah, I did forget
I
something
don't
you were
know. I
just
said a
saying.
lot.
Men, because we went over men and mommy issues
Yep.
and how
And
sometimes
female.
it causes too much catering, or it can cause too much, or it can cause like a disdain for women.
Mm,
Like you don't like to be challenged, or you don't like to, you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
mm,
Um, you got men with daddy issues and not being able to control it. Oh, that whole I think all that come from that. When dudes,
what?
you know, like when dudes try to hit on a girl and they get like we was talking about in the car earlier,
Earlier.
and they get mad. I
Uh huh.
think all that. I think that stems from. I think that has to do with mommy
You
issues.
think so? Earlier we were talking about how, cause
It's
Webb
a
was
pride
saying
thing.
that females when they dress, like why when they dress the way that they dress, like if they showing, any type of skin, why do females get upset when a man, they know that men are gonna like
Feel
say
it though.
something to them, look at them, give them remarks, try to holler at them. Why do women get mad? Like it's not gonna happen.
Some women that dress half naked and then be mad at every man that tried to talk to them that night. Like that's insane. That don't make no sense. None at all. It don't make any sense. Like, why would you leave the house looking like that, knowing that you're gonna get that type of attention? Like, if that's not the attention you're looking for, don't
But
make no
I
sense.
told Webb it don't always have to be about a female looking for attention. A female just might want to dress up that day. She might want to get pretty and beautiful and sexy for herself. Like, why do it always got to
So
be
you
about?
ignore every other factor, all the factors that's gonna piss you off? No, no.
Anyways, he was. Yeah, I
I
don't
want to know
get
that.
mad. Kia said I want to know that too. Like, I don't get mad because it's expected. I told Webb that. But I don't know why females will get mad. They know if they dress nice, it's going to be. It is what it is.
That is what it is.
But Webb thinks that when men, like, because I was saying, so why when men don't want it, like when a woman says, no, I'm good, or she ignores him, he want to call her a B, he want to call her out her name, get
Fellas,
disrespectful.
stop doing that. Can y'all stop
Tell
doing that?
them.
Because that is annoying.
Y'all
As a
listen to
man
him.
watching another man do this, it's annoying, bro. It's so annoying. And I'm a person who, in my younger age, I dealt with a fear of rejection. So I understand it. You don't want to be turned down, but come on, you ain't got to get rude. Like it's unnecessary.
Right. Thank you. It is unnecessary. I don't know if it hurts your pride. I don't know what it is, but it ain't right. She said men need to have self control and respect.
They do,
And
but
they,
women
but it's like,
also need to have that, and that's what y'all be like. That's not to say y'all. 'Cause I'm not gonna put you in any category, but that's what women who do that lack, and they don't realize that's something they lack. Especially if they're complaining about the attention. It's something that they lack. It's something off upstairs. You know what I'm saying? Like men do need to have self control, but women also need to have self control and respect for themselves, and that's something that we've been laxing on lately in society because
I
it's
don't,
become
but
easy to just blame dudes.
I don't feel like though if a female dresses a certain way that it depends. Like, why does it have to be that she don't have respect for herself? Like we talk, I agree with what you're saying about her getting
Cause
mad. That's
if she gets attention from who she wanted from, it's no problem.
like she said, some just want to feel good for themselves.
And that's fine, but it's like if she get the attention from who she wanted from, she's gonna feel good about herself.
Right.
If she get it, but if she get it from men who are going to give it to her for being half naked, and
it don't mean nothing.
I'm not saying that it don't mean. I know. I understand.
It don't mean nothing to her.
But at the same time, you can't get upset about it because you should expect it.
Oh yeah, I won't be upset. Okay, well on that we could agree. My dad said I think it's a pride thing. You think it's a pride thing when men, when they like get disrespectful, like, oh, you be this, that, and the third. It's like, wow, like you doing all of that. Like that's definitely some mommy issues going on right there. Or you just, you was not taught any type of respect for a female. Or it could be a man could have never, a boy could have never seen a man love their mom. And that could also play a part into the relationship.
So as much
and
as
how
he
you
loves
treat
his
the
mother,
woman that
he has a lack of respect for her.
Yeah, he never seen nobody love her, treat her right.
The way a man should treat a woman.
Right, and then it's hard for a man when they have children, especially girls, to try to teach them and show them like, okay, this is how a man gonna treat you. If they never seen their mom do it or they didn't do it in their relationship, how do you expect them to do it with their kids? But like I said, if you want to learn something, you want to get better at something, you're gonna surround yourself with people that's doing the better. So.
Shout out to all my friends. My friends are good men to their women and good men to their children. And that's who I surround myself with.
I'm glad you surround yourself with people like that, Webb.
Of course.
That's good.
Of course.
Thank you, boo. Thank you. She said that was deep. Like, for real. It is real because, not to put I like to talk about personal stuff too, but it's like, yo, I deal with that too with my kid's father. It's like generational stuff. Just like, yo, and as the mom, I see generational things in my family as well as his, and I'm like, yo, something gotta give, something gotta break. I don't want my kids growing up even though they're gonna deal with their own situation, they're gonna take their own paths in life. I understand that, but
that's a very important thing in parenting.
But it's hard when you got one parent, right? Because they didn't know
better.
They
didn't know any better.
But
they wanted us to do what they wanted us to do,
and because of how they grew up. So it's a pattern. But now that some of us understand it, it's like, okay, yo, it's hard when both parents not on that same page. When you got one parent that might be like, oh, that's just how my family is. This, that, and the third. And it's like, no, we gotta break this. I don't want my kids being like that. Or I wanted them to be better, and I'm not even just I want them to be better. I don't want this to keep lingering on. It gotta go. Like that. That's where it's at. That's how I feel, and it's hard when you're not on the same page. When you're not on the same page, so it's like, dang, I'm working so hard to try to break these things while working on myself because I'm not perfect. You feel me? And I got things I gotta break down from my issues in life, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to work on it for the better for them.
And that's what kind of drove a big wedge in my relationship. Like a lot, not to say it could have, shouldn't have, and I kept trying to explain this, it shouldn't have, but like noticing, like I said, I had been away from my situation for like 2 years, and I was in school right before my baby mother. You know what I'm saying? So when I started dating her, I had just moved back home because I failed out of Eastern, whatever, and so I was in a mind state that wasn't. I wasn't, under duress. I wasn't thinking about. She was just freshly out of, like she was still at home living with her mother. So she didn't notice a lot of the generational curses stuff. I had to put her on. You know what I'm saying? Because I was noticing shit. I had already been noticing the stuff about my family. I had to study psychology at Capital and Eastern now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm noticing a lot of like, oh, this is because of this. Oh, this is because of. Oh, this is because of this. You know what I mean? I'm breaking down all of this on my own. And I would have conversations. This is what would confirm. I would have conversations with my brother. I'd come to him like, yo, I gotta have a conversation with you. And I had this and I started talking about it, and then he'd either confirm it or let me know what I'm right about and wrong about. And I'm like, oh shit. So I wasn't tripping. Like, you know what I mean? But
right, that'd be even better when it's.
It'd be better when it's confirmed.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm not bugging.
I'm not bugging, and that happened a lot. There's been a lot of confirmations and the stuff that
Them confirmations only mean that you're moving forward
in the right direction.
Path, in the right direction. Yep. Aunt Renee said, I tell my kids if you didn't like the way something happened in your childhood, don't repeat it. True. It's hard to. I think it's hard, but it's.
You also can't go to the complete opposite end, and that's what people do a lot of times.
What do you mean?
Like.
Try to save them from everything. No. You gotta let them.
Trying to save them from that complete
You gotta let them
situation.
experience some things. You gotta you gotta let them go through some things.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to.
You do.
It's a part of their growth, because if you that always coming to the rescue, saving them every time, like sometimes that could be a crutch, and yeah, and that could cause an issue, for them.
Another generational curse now.
Or when they get into a relationship. So sometimes, like, you gotta let them learn the issue. You gotta let them learn, but some things you don't want to repeat. But like you said, them curses be real. So them things be real, and they'll follow you even if you think that you're doing everything in your power to, you know, keep it away. Keep it away.
It's energy work.
Right.
In strange ways.
Right. You hear these kids?
Yep.
Okay, you got anything else to say about generational curses? I'm trying to think. Last week.
I think we touched on men and mommy issues, men and daddy issues. Oh, women and mommy issues. Women not getting along with their mom or fighting with their mom a lot.
Why do you think that is?
You know what? Again, I'm about to put y'all on something. Periods. You know, they say, a friend of mine was telling me, if a male figure isn't in the house, a woman gets her period earlier. Because you're supposed to get your period at like 13, 14.
Yeah, some people get it earlier.
But some people get it earlier.
Yeah.
Well, some people get it at 9, 10. Yep. Some girls.
It depends on but that all depends on
if your father's in the house, and that has a lot to do with that. And I just learned that recently. If a male energy is in the house, you're treated more like a young lady than a woman, because it's two female energies going back and forth.
So when there's two females in the house, you feel like there's more of a feminine of a woman.
Yeah, which causes the thing to come on earlier.
Well, I don't know about that whole period thing coming on earlier. I would have to look into that.
Look it up.
I get the concept that you're saying when you talk about, I guess, is being looked at as two women without a male figure in the house, but I don't know.
So that it causes bickering and fighting, because sometimes your daughter be your best friend up until a certain age. She start getting a smart mouth back.
Oh,
or you know what I'm saying, or something along the lines, and then if she brave enough, if she tough enough, y'all will start fighting at an early age. You get what I'm saying?
Try it.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna try that with you.
Yeah, right.
But it be like that, you know what I mean? Because girls, they feel like, man, I'm a woman, and I could, you know what I mean?
They feel like I'm going through that. Tracy about to be 13, and she feel like she is like, I'm like, you about to be 13, girl. You're not about to be. She feel like but then some others treat their kids like that. Like some moms treat their kids, they let them grow up fast. Sometimes I be feeling old school still. Like I be having to ask my friends, like, listen, am I not letting her do enough stuff? Because I'm like, I feel like
narcissistic mothers,
yeah, narcissistic moms.
And that's another.
She want to go there.
Narcissistic.
The mothers.
That's a whole
can of worms.
They gonna hate what's coming out of my mouth about that. Not because it's never to put women down. I'll be saying some real stuff, and women don't ready for men to say it. So
whatever. But I don't know. I think that with the whole thing, it could be a challenge with females in the house, all females. It's hard. We asked my brother one day too. He's like, "How you did it?" It was all females in the house. He said, "I used to get on my nerves." And I know, like, even women, but we be so in sync, because even when you talk about the period thing, like, when you close with one of your friends, even with my homegirls, like, that I'm close with, like, we'll all have our periods around the same time. Mm-hmm. Like, that's crazy, though. Like, how is that? And then sometimes, like, when you got your child, like me, I know sometimes when Tracy be talking to saying something, and I be like, oh my gosh, she sounds just like me. Then I be mad at myself, like, oh, no. Or I'll hear myself, and I'll hear my mother when I'm talking. I'll be like, yo, that's crazy. It's just crazy how it's just like, it ain't no way. She said, open the can. Let's talk about it. She want to talk about narcissistic mothers. Now, she talking about, like, you talking about in a relationship, like a guy and his mom, and, like, that type of mom. You talking about your mom being a narcissistic. Not your mom per se, but you know.
In some of those situations, depending on who the dude is and what kind of dude he is, you will learn how. If your mother's narcissistic, you will learn how to treat traumatized women. And sometimes that's a plus.
You know Why is that a plus?
because there's a lot of.
Oh, you mean if you know how to treat traumatized women in a good way?
In a good way.
Okay. I thought you were saying.
No, in a good way. But there's also the control thing, because then now it's like with I got a friend that his I don't know how to explain that. I can't say too much because I don't want to give away nobody life story or nothing. But like his relationship with his mom is very interesting. They cool. He loves his mother to death. But they used to bicker a lot. They bicker a whole lot. You know what I mean? They had a whole. And this is since he was young. They bicker a lot, but he loves his mother to death. He'd catch a bullet for his mother. Somebody catch a bullet for his mother. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real. Like it's real like that. But it's strange how it can be a lot of turmoil and a lot of love, and you learn how to treat women properly.
So you think that coming from having a narcissistic parent, that won't teach you a negative behavior, but it will teach you in return how to.
It'll teach you It'll teach you something negative. It'll teach you negative behavior towards yourself as a man. You'll.
Would that mean like you will become narcissistic? Like you can pick up those traits?
You'll deal with a narcissistic woman, and they'll walk all over you, and you'll let them because that's what you're used to. Not that your mother walk all over you, but you're used to just being talked to rudely or talked to kind of, you know what I mean, like in a manner that has to do with only her. That's disregarding you. That has to do with just her. If that makes sense, because she's a narcissist. No.
But narcissistic doesn't always mean somebody that just. I mean, well, it does mean but they lie a lot. They just be.
They're trying to protect themselves.
Their narratives, yes.
They're trying to protect themselves and their narrative.
Their narratives
be
so false. Please
don't. So false.
Don't get me started on narratives, cause
it'd be so false.
Oh man.
They be trying to protect themselves.
They try to protect themselves. And what? And then when they want to paint the narrative, you are the bad person
the villain. Like.
Yeah, that's called being an
empath.
Empath. Sorry.
There's levels to the because that's what I was saying to you earlier.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about that earlier.
Some people, who's that web?
Mindset said web.
Oh, what up?
Hey boo, I was about to say, I know you ain't say hi to web, ain't say hi to me. It's like, hey boo.
Some empath. I think being empathic is being able to feel what other people feel. There's some people, deeply. There's some people who claim to be an empath who are actually narcissists, and what they feel from other people are negative emotions. You know what I'm saying? And you only feel no negative emotion because you think that way about yourself. It's something that's bouncing off of you.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? It's an insecurity that you got or something.
Right.
And you telling yourself, this person think this about me. No, you think that about you. That person ain't even thinking about you.
It could be like that.
It could be like that. Sometimes they could be thinking that.
Yeah. No, I think I'm an empath. I feel.
I ain't seen them in a while.
I ain't seen them in a while. You ain't seen me in a while either. I think I'm an empath. I think I feel deeply. Like I don't know. I could read. I don't know if that's. I could read people well, and I could tell like when somebody's going through something, or like even if they try to hide it. I'm just that type of person. Like I'm that friend. I'm that person that's like I know even if you put on a front and you know.
That's being an empath, I think more so.
Yeah.
Like you can feel it.
I mean, but sometimes I feel like I feel like sometimes when I used to get into it with my kid's father, like I used to feel like certain stuff he used to be saying, like we'll be having a conversation, but I used to feel like he was gearing it towards me. Yeah. And he would say that he isn't, but I used to feel a lot of times like
I used to go to that with my baby.
I used to be like, no, you're talking about me, but it used to be some shade sometimes, but I should just be like, why don't you just say you talking about me? Because that's what it felt like.
What it felt like, yeah.
Maybe if it was, I'm not 100% sure. I can't say that, but that's what it felt like. Maybe now that I'm, maturing.
I go to people on my Facebook.
Yeah, but now that I'm maturing and learning more about self and things like that, it's like, okay, you look at things differently and you open to say, okay, well maybe it wasn't, meant like that or whatever, or maybe it was. You just never know, but you got to be open to maybe saying, well, maybe I felt that way about myself. Mm-hmm. And you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with saying that I felt that way about myself, or I had this negative thought, but what can I do to change that?
You know how I know it's a self thing? Because when I'm in a really bad, low, like vibrating spot, and I get on Facebook, I feel like it's shade all down my timeline, and it can't be that, but it can't be that much shade from so many different people knowing what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And that's what made me realize, yo, it's you, Web, thinking this about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll be looking at post after post, like, yo, that's about me. That's about me.
Oh
that's
no!
About me.
Oh
that's
God! Well,
I'm gonna be commenting on it, but I'll be looking at it, but I'll be realizing it in a low vibrating space that it's like, yo, I'm bugging. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just feeling that way about myself. That's how I know it's a self thing. So when people be like, no, that's not, I'm like, you're bluffing. I know that you feel that way about yourself.
Well, some people, I don't know. I don't want to say it's always like that, Web. It just could be, it can be.
It's like a lot.
It happens more than often, and people want to admit.
Then that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. It happens more than people want to admit.
Right. Mindset said, not all imps only pick up negative energy.
Oh yeah,
I feel a lot of other people's emotions connected to those emotions, whether you want to or not, right? Yeah, yo, whether you want to or not, you can't help it.
I wasn't saying that they only pick up negative. I'm saying when people do that and they only pick up negative,
Nate said you don't have any
narcissists, not empaths.
Nate, stop acting like you don't have no issues. He said you don't have none of these issues. Yeah, okay. She said you probably have you probably have healthy parents. Montez said you're internalizing others' emotions is a self thing, but that's not always being it.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, Montez.
Yeah, that's what we were saying that. Listen, we all have some type of issues.
For real. And people don't be wanting to admit. And that shit would be crazy.
It's about admitting. And you gotta admit it. That's always, I think, the first step with a lot of stuff. Like, you have to admit and you have to, like, want to work on self. It is not easy.
It's hard, though.
It's hard.
Narcissistic people
people don't have friends.
For real, listen, man. I don't even want to get to that because I got
Let's talk about that. Man. Narcissistic people don't have friends.
It is because they constantly think everybody's out to get them.
Oh my God. High five, please. Like, yo, what?
Don't be to that. Like,
I agree with that. Oh, man, I can't even talk about it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we do all have issues. Yeah, narcissistic people, that's because they so dang messed up in the head that now they think anybody that's around them or not, people that ain't even around them, they be making up stuff in their head thinking people out to get them.
Out to get them.
Yeah, no, seriously.
That's funny.
Shadow work is hard.
Shadow work is... speaking of shadow work, that's where a lot of my knowledge come from. Doing shadow, but this is before I knew it was called shadow work or what understanding.
Explain to me what is shadow work.
Shadow work is when you're dealing with all your low vibrational stuff, all your insecurities, all that, like generational curse, like this stuff. When you start to recognize these things are problems, and you work on that part of yourself because it's a subconscious part of yourself that's doing these things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Consciously, you're making changes and you're trying to do stuff.
Right.
But it's the stuff that get to you and mess you up all the time. You're like, dang, what the? Right. You start to take a look at yourself and you know what I mean. You start to realize the stuff that you do subconsciously that affect you consciously, and you work on those things. That's shadow work. So before I understood energies to the level I do now, I was learning and picking up stuff from reading books and things of that nature. But before I understood it as deep as I understand it now, I was reading about like the Illuminati and reading about like the fact that like the celebrities and these rich people how they do all the stuff with kids and so all the stuff that people have been finding out this year, I was learning about it like 2007, 8, 9, 10. You know what I'm saying? Like up till now, I was really deep into looking into this stuff, the occult, like Satanism, like all that kind of stuff. And like my dark, I noticed a lot of my dark side stuff early because of these things. I'm like, oh, I have a pattern of doing this, or I have looking at things this kind of way. And I noticed.
So you kind of caught on.
I kind of caught on quick. You know what I mean? And I've been trying to, but I haven't, because I didn't understand what was going on at the time. I wasn't at a space to start working on them diligently as I should have been. Like how people, you start to realize you work on them right away. Right. I wasn't doing that because I didn't. It's just stuff I was learning. Right. So like now, a lot of those stuff is coming back to haunt me. It's like, damn, like I had a bunch of time to fix this and I didn't. Right. But I learned a whole lot. I learned so much about myself and about. That's how I started to that's what set me on my path for learning about generational curses. You know what I'm saying? Because I was starting to pick up these stuff like, oh, this sound like, wait a minute, and I'm hearing certain stories, and that's what got me starting looking into that kind of stuff and finding out about psychology and healing and getting into energy and stuff like that. Me too. Oh,
she said me too, and my sister said she want the share the books too.
What in your past is bothering your future?
What in your past is bothering your future. Yeah, because if you don't figure out what in your past is bothering your future, because I swear a lot of times that saying is true. Like a lot of things with how people treat people or things that it don't even be you. It's something that they're going through internally, and it might lash out or come out on you. And it's not even towards you. It don't even have nothing to do with you. And you might not understand that on your end, but once you understand, like, okay, like you said with the kids example, like, okay, all right, now that was my fault, I'm flipping out. You gotta understand that. Yeah. And I think for me, I started with the generational curses just from just seeing things within my family. And I was just like, yo, like, dang, looking at the patterns as I'm getting older and older. And it's just like, okay, nah, something gotta change now. Like, what can I do to go about it? And it's like, I'm still learning. I'm still open to learn too, so you gotta teach me some things that you know.
And
past trauma, and things like that. When you see it, but then when you able to also bring other family members on that feel the same way that you feel, or they say, okay, that make it even stronger. I feel like when you have others in your family that are able to want to tackle that on with you as well.
Yes, it makes it a lot, and that was another thing. Like coming to finding cousins. Shout out to my cousin Kevin and my cousin Kirby. And kid, but come on, shout out to my cousins, cause that's like you said. Once you get another family member to like kind of confront, and you can come to them and be like, yo, I'm noticing. They're like, yo, I thought it was just me.
Right.
It's a safe space in a way. It make you feel more confident and wanting to correct them, wanting to come to the rest of the family about it. You know what I mean? It gives you a different kind of confidence.
That's the hard thing.
To fix it. And that's the hard part
about
it.
To pull all your families together and have that conversation.
That's the hardest part about
some
it.
People, thank you,
Montez.
Because some people, family is hard headed. Some people set in their ways, especially when they're older. Some people like, man, I'm not about to tell like this or what I've been through or what I've seen or what might help the future generations when you're no longer there and no longer around. Like, we need that, and it's important, but it's like, we young. We young, I don't care, we in our 30s, but that's young, like, and I feel like for us to even be able to recognize that even at this age and just want to change or even just want to have that change for our future of our kids and our grands and great-grands and things of that, because like, it's generational. It don't matter. It's always going to be there. But if you could try to put some positive generational stuff in, like financial, because I know a lot of people deal with, like, poverty. A lot of us came from that, know what that's like, and a lot, that seems like that's something heavy on the black community, not knowing how to deal with, like, our credit because our parents wasn't taught that, their parents wasn't taught that. How they was going to teach us that? They ain't know nothing about that. So now you got this poverty-stricken cloud over your family, and every generation is living in subsidy, on Section 8, getting food stamps, getting this, getting that, and needing services. But now it's time to break those negative ones and say, hey, I don't care what I got to do. I'm going to make sure that I try to put at least some type of positive generational, not even a curse, generational wealth, and that don't just mean financial. And I could put that in there, and we could try to keep that working and keep teaching the youth about that and teach our kids about that and say, hey, this is what our family been through, but this is where we're going. Mommy trying to show you something different. Daddy trying to show you something different. So.
And a lot of times, people like different, showing something different. You gotta. There's levels. There's levels to the difference. You know what I mean? Because you could change the poverty part of it, but there's the emotional part of it. Remember, there was a show on YouTube called Money and Violence.
I think I remember that. Was that her first show?
It was based in.
Yeah, I remember. Okay. I didn't really watch it though, but I know what you're talking about.
Money and violence. Let's replace violence with fear, because that's what it causes, right? Those are the two things that controls the body. Money controls your physical person. You can do whatever you want when you got bread, and fear control you mentally. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, sometimes you could change your generational curse wealth-wise. Now you might be starting business, but there's still that emotional distress in the family that'll carry on.
Yep.
That'll make things, more difficult. People don't realize that also needs to change.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then sometimes you could change that part and still be poor, but
woo,
that's
thank you, Web. Kind of yo, let me tell you something.
So now y'all have a certain level of love and family, even though y'all grow up poor and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Listen, it's easier. I feel like it's easier for a person to say, "Oh, I'm working on myself, or I'm working to change this," than the family. I feel like it's easier for them to work on that wealth part, far as financial goals. Yeah. That's always easier. But then, like you said, you could have all the wealth you want, but when that right there, that emotional side, that mental part is not worked on, you haven't done your part in it. It's always gonna show. It could break down and take away that whole financial stuff. Yeah, exactly. More money, more problems.
Now you got even deeper problems.
Because you chose to keep sweeping it under the rug and not dealing with it because you think, oh, I'm popping on a financial level, but you forgetting about all this stuff that you need to deal with, heal from, as well as, things that's going on in your family. Montez said, too many rapists and molesters still showing up to Thanksgiving.
True.
Girl, true. Family needs to stop. To talk, and they need to stop sweeping stuff under the rug and talk to the young people early, not when we're older.
Thank you, Montez. Yeah, that's important.
Yep. You gotta
they
talk
really
to
be
them.
Trying to hide it from kids like we don't understand. Then you gotta find it out on your own. And then you come to them about it. Now you rude. No. You should have told me it before. Now I'm grown. That's the difference. Right. That's the difference. We're gonna have to have this talk now.
I feel like you have to have those uncomfortable conversations. Mm-hmm. Like you have to sometimes. Like it's for the better. Oh, this is I'm glad we talked about this today.
This is why I wanted a part 2.
I know Web wanted a part 2 because I had some other topics on him.
She did have some other topics on that, but I needed to talk. You know when you spit my facts, I need to come talk to y'all.
Yeah, no.
I missed last week. I love the show. I love y'all for viewing us. Thank you for watching.
No one we know really is talking about the 7 sources of income.
That's this dude book, right?
How to maintain them. Yeah, you gotta maintain them. You have to. That's what I'm saying. It's levels to learning this stuff and wanting to and it's hard. Listen, if success came so easy, then everybody would be successful. It's hard and it's something that you have to want and it's something that you got to understand that you might fall 5 times, but you got to get up 10 more times.
Montez, you just put me on. I didn't know about this. I just Googled it. Now I'm about to look into it.
Oh, okay. So you wasn't here for last week. Yeah, but it's hard, but it's worth it. But you got to want that. You got to get that fear out of you. Your fear. Fear will keep you back from everything. Fear will keep you back. It will keep you on your tracks. It will keep you glued to the floor and not move.
You won't be able to grow.
Like it's hard, but you got to get that up out.
That is why America has us the way they have us, people. I'm gonna get into that. We got that talk at later, but fear is important. That's what September 11th was about. That's what the war was about. That's what this COVID. That's what all the COVID thing is about. That's what all this is about. It's about fear. It's about fear.
You see the Trump talking about some.
His whole
he trying to file lawsuits and all this other stuff because he know he about to.
He out of here.
Fear keeps us in line. Exactly. Yes, it does. Fear will have you like, I can't do this. No. Oh wait, no. They're gonna think.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
For real. For real, you missing out. You wanna talk to us, boo? Okay. Like seriously. You missing every time you say you can't, every time you let the fear tell you like I can't do this. Listen, you could be missing out on opportunity. Like I be saying that too. Like sometimes it's like you want everything to be perfect. Like even when I was starting this and working on doing this show, like I was like, no, I gotta make sure I have this. I need to have this. I need to have that. And talking to people, they like, girl, you see people sitting in a corner with millions of views and this, that, and the third, and they having their shows and they, so it's like, yo, you just gotta move forward. It's like you can't let that fear hold you back. Yo, you can't let what people gonna say, what they have to say, any of that. You can't let that stuff hold you back. Like, and just going back to the generational curses, you gotta try to break that, man. You gotta try to break that. Trust me, somebody listening, somebody watching.
Should you click to see more?
Oh.
I'm about to jot them right down. I'm about to jot them
yeah,
down
for
right
the
now.
ladies. Oh, sorry. For the ladies, y'all should check out this one. The Goddess Black Woman. It's a good book. Ladies, y'all need to check this out. Our queens, check this book out. To uplift the woman is to uplift the world. Check this book out. But
the destruction of the black civilization. Oh man.
Yeah, and the miseducation of a Negro and Mojo working. I could screenshot it for you. I'm gonna take a picture of it for you. Okay.
Oh yeah, through religion, through they did a lot. It was religion. They, beating us obviously. They would also do things like they would have you rape your mom. They would have you have sex with your moms or have the father have sex with his
Yo, why you
daughters.
think we so divided?
Yeah, it's a
That's
lot of stuff
another
that they used to do.
topic. Oh, we getting deep. That man.
All of that has created a generational curse as a whole on black people. And that's what I was saying earlier about being hit constantly and you don't get enough time to try to figure out what's
right,
going on.
because you just gotta hurry up and maneuver. You like, I gotta get around this.
Now
I gotta find a new way. So then the way that I was already working on, I can't even work on that because you keep on. Yeah, exactly.
Move properly, you just gotta move.
That's how fear will have you too. That's how fear will have you like that too.
Fear will have you like that. That's why they do it.
Yeah.
That's why they do it to us.
Yeah,
we suffering like a motherfucker, man.
Right.
But
you gotta keep a positive mindset, and not to say that the whole world gonna change.
They haven't been able to stop us yet.
Right.
As much as they tried a lot, y'all know they tried a lot to stop black people. They can't.
Right.
We can't.
Exactly.
Get used to us.
We here forever.
Feel me?
We here forever. Unapologetic.
Divided, shaking my head. We divided because we don't know who we are.
We're divided because that you see all the things that they threw in our way to separate us. Like you just said, they had the whole light skin versus dark skin thing. Like that was a thing back in slavery days and back then. Or like you said, they had the father molesting the daughter or whatever you want to call it. Like, and then they brought the drugs in. Then the men started going to jail when the women was here. Like the women were just here. It's a lot. They put into the black community to really separate us and have us divided amongst each other. But
if we went back,
we are improving. We definitely are improving.
As black people, like I said, there's a quote: "If you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in a book."
Oh yeah.
As black people, if we were to go back and study slavery as a whole,
some of that stuff is fake.
We'll figure out. No, that's what I'm saying. Some of it, but we'll figure out from what they did. We'll figure out how to counteract what they're doing to us now, because they just kept doing it. They didn't stop doing anything. They
found different ways to do it. But listen,
if we go back,
they're centuries ahead, yo.
But listen to what I'm saying.
Centuries
ahead. They
are
only because they've had money.
Right.
We've got the smarts. That's why Trump supporters been acting the way they act. That's why a lot of white people been acting the way they act, because since we've had to deal with America messing with us so much, we've developed a certain level of smarts they don't got because they've had it comfortable so long. So that's what I'm saying. We go back and study slavery, we can pick up what they're doing, and because we've been dealing with it for so long, we know how to counteract it now. They're not going to be able to catch up. Now, we're centuries ahead. See what I'm saying?
Boy, that's going to be we more aware, but
we're way more aware.
Yeah, that's going to be something that's going to take. But they got the jump start that they got.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's like, yo, it takes
But you see, they gotta keep the system
going
the way it's going in order to keep us down. Because if they give us equal rights, we'll surpass them like this.
Right. And I think that social media played a part. And even though you still got to do your own research, you still should want to look into things. You still should want to pick up a book.
Yes.
I feel like we are more aware. We are more aware of what's going on, and we are doing things now to try to change. So I do give the black community that credit. We still have a lot of work to go, but. Listen, that's how it goes.
They go back and study slavery. We'll figure out what America is doing to us and be able to counteract it.
Some of them, they be down.
Way faster.
Mine said colorism, we still going through it, light skin and dark skin, yup. Even our families talk down about dark skin people. That's because that's what they were taught. And that's what I mean. To divide, to put that in there, to say, okay, and then, okay, now you light skin, you dark skin, you light skin, you better. Girl, you burnt, get somewhere. Say hurtful things to that dark-skinned child or dark-skinned person. Some white people act like we don't live in poverty and with racism.
Cause they bug. That's what I was saying. It's cause they bugged that they didn't had it comfortable and they hadn't had to worry about anything. It's only till now that their world is being shaken up and they don't know what to do. We've been dealing with this forever. So we in a more space where we can think going through this shit. You know what I'm saying? We've had to deal with it so we can think going through it. They now have to deal with it. They're not gonna be able to think.
Remember when
they gonna bug out? They gonna spaz and they gonna spaz for a while. White people gonna riot when this is over.
Remember when the stocks had crashed and we had that bad year? What was that? What was that?
When Obama was in office? 2000?
No, not when Obama was. I don't think Obama was. When did Obama first go in office?
2008.
Then maybe it was. What was it?
It
might have been his first year of election, and they were going crazy because like they wasn't even losing big stuff. They was losing like it would be they just have to go to a smaller house, and they was like freaking out. Somebody jumped off one of the buildings. I'm like, are you serious?
They don't know how to handle that. We had to survive forever. We've dealt with a lot. Shout out to P.
Yep, 2008. Right. See, Montez said, I'm worried for my daughter, man. These kids are bullies, seducing kids. Yeah.
That's why I make sure, like I was saying, I make sure I be on my daughter and I teach her about her black side because she's half Dominican. And her mother learned a lot about being black and the black side from me because her father is who's black and she didn't have a good relationship with her father. You know what I'm saying? Her mom is more light skinned. So she's had to deal with colorism to a certain extent in her family. You know what I'm saying? And I want to make sure that Saluna understands you're black as well, you know what I mean? Like,
right, because my babies are chocolate too, but I mean it's what you teach.
Don't treat nobody that's dark skinned, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or even with the light skin. I mean,
she real light skin. Y'all see, she bright yellow.
Right, most of the women in my family are too. Okay, I think this was a really good show. What time is it? 7:30. Yes, she said social media definitely helped that. Yeah, social media did help a lot. And just the internet alone, getting things out there.
They're still doing the whole putting us against each other. It's stretched past race now. They got like Let me show you something. Our generation, this generation here, is the biggest generation since the baby boomers. Right. The millennials is the biggest generation since the baby boomers. Millennials and baby boomers beef because old people don't understand us, and we feel like they're outdated. But that was the generation that was trying to change stuff in the 70s, the 60s and 70s. They had a big movement then. You know what I mean? Like the whole peace movement and all that. That was them when they were our age. So if these two generations would have come together, we could take on the government like that. But they don't want that. That's why they have us beef. It's the same thing with light skin and dark skin. They didn't want black people coming together, so they put us against each other. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying. It makes sense.
So they do that a lot. That's why they have men. That's why it's the whole men versus women thing. Even though we do the Venus versus Mars, ours is about men and women coming together and understanding each other.
And just understanding different perspectives. So yeah, it's not nothing for a negative.
But they really have it where men and women are beefing nowadays, and it's crazy. Like, it's nuts. They don't want us to come together at all in no aspect. Men, women, older, younger, dark skin, light skin, black, white. They don't want us to come together at all. And that's why that's exactly what we need to do.
Right. Well, and time we will know. I think that this was a good show. Thank you for listening, for tuning in to part 2 of our episode 5.
Thank you for tuning in to part 2 of episode 5.
Venus versus Mars.
It's an agenda.
It is an agenda.
That it is.
Of course, we know it's an agenda. That's a whole nother. We're gonna have to make another Venus versus Mars for that because that get deep. Some people might not understand it. Some people might think we crazy, but it is what it is. We know what it is.
Yes, it is.
But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in as always. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for Thank you. It's always a great show with the engagement. It's always a great show when you guys come on and say what you have to say. Right. Y'all make us think more. Y'all make us put more into what we're doing. So thank you again. Next week we'll be back with another one. We're not sure yet what topic we're gonna choose, but we're definitely gonna be back next week.
Feel free to send me a friend request.
You guys can send
suggestions
a friend request.
Yep. us out a lot.
Right. I put it on Facebook
before,
but I'll put it up again. Great topic. Love you. Thanks, Dad. Love you too. So for those that the live always stays on the page, so you should be able to see it on my page, on web page. If you know anybody that shares it, I'm gonna keep the live up there. Even the previous weeks we keep it up there. Yes. And we thinking about just starting an Enlighten Me page for the Talk with Teezy page. So we might just stream from there, as well as trying to get it on IG. Like I said, I'm working on it every week. I'm trying to learn something new to add to this so we could keep on going. Because like I said, we're not going nowhere.
We're not going nowhere. We here, baby.
We here. We going to do what we do.
We
and it's going to be...
enlighten y'all.
Yup, enlighten y'all. And y'all going to talk with Teezy and Webb. And we going to talk back. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good night. Good night. Good night. One love. Later.